Chapter: The Reign of Psamtik II, Legacy of Greatness, Peace. Psamtik II, known to the Greco-Romans as Psammeticus or Psammeticus, ruled as a king of the Saite-based 26th Dynasty of Egypt. His reign, though brief from 595 to 589 BCE, was marked by strategic military campaigns and efforts to reinforce Egypt's sovereignty, particularly in the southern territories. Psamtik II, the son of Necho II, inherited a kingdom poised between the forces of Assyria, Babylon, and the emerging Persian Empire. His prenomen, Nefer-Ib-Re, meaning beautiful is the heart of Re, reflects his divine connection to the sun god Ra, a vital symbol of kingship in ancient Egypt. Military campaigns and conquests. One of Psamtik II's most notable achievements was his military expedition against the Kingdom of Kush, a powerful Nubian state to the south. This campaign was not merely a show of force, but a calculated move to secure Egypt's southern borders and reassert control over the trade routes along the Nile. Psamtik II's forces advanced deep into Nubian territory, even reaching as far as Napata, the heart of the Kushite kingdom. His victory was commemorated by inscriptions and stelae, symbolizing Egypt's dominance and the pharaoh's military prowess. The campaign against Kush also served to solidify Egypt's influence in the region, reinforcing its role as a dominant power in the ancient world. The suppression of Nubian influence ensured that the wealth of the African interior, particularly gold and other precious resources, continued to flow northward into Egypt. Cultural and religious impact. Psamtik II's reign was also significant in the realm of cultural and religious developments. He continued the restoration and building programs initiated by his predecessors, particularly focusing on temples dedicated to the gods of Egypt. These constructions were not just acts of piety, but statements of power, reinforcing the pharaoh's divine right to rule. During this period, the relationship between the Egyptian gods and those of neighboring cultures, particularly the Sumerian and other Mesopotamian deities, became more pronounced. Psamtik II's reign saw an increased exchange of religious ideas, a blending of cultural influences that reflected Egypt's interaction with the wider ancient world. This exchange enriched Egypt's spiritual landscape, making it a nexus of religious thought and practice. Psamtik II's place in history. Psamtik II's reign, though short, left a lasting impact on Egypt's history. His military successes against Nubia ensured the security of Egypt's southern borders for years to come, while his contributions to religious and cultural life reinforced the pharaoh's role as the intermediary between the gods and the people. The legacy of Psamtik II is a testament to the strength and resilience of the Saite dynasty. His actions were not just about maintaining power, but about securing Egypt's greatness in a time of shifting political landscapes. Psamtik II demonstrated that true greatness is achieved through a combination of military might, religious devotion, and cultural integration. Conclusion: the legacy of self-knowledge. In understanding the reign of Psamtik II, we see that greatness is not a fleeting moment, but a sustained effort of strategic thinking, cultural pride, and divine connection. Just as Psamtik II drew upon the wisdom of his ancestors and the strength of his people, so too can we draw upon the lessons of history to forge our paths forward. The story of Psamtik II is a reminder that our true power lies in our ability to understand our past, honor our heritage, and use that knowledge to shape a future of enduring greatness. Chapter: Psamtik II and the Nubian Campaign, a strategic triumph. Psamtik II's campaign against the Kingdom of Kush was more than just a military venture. It was a strategic effort to reassert Egypt's dominance over its southern neighbor. The Kingdom of Kush, with its capital at Napata, had been a significant power in the region, once even ruling over Egypt during the 25th dynasty. By the time of Psamtik II, however, the relationship between Egypt and Kush had become one of wary coexistence, with both powers vying for control over the vital resources and trade routes of the Nile. Recognizing the threat posed by a resurgent Kushite kingdom, Psamtik II launched a well-planned and decisive military campaign. His forces, likely comprised of Egyptian troops bolstered by Greek mercenaries, marched south with the intent to cripple Kush's ability to challenge Egypt. The campaign's success is evidenced by the inscriptions found at Thebes and Elephantine, which celebrate Psamtik II's victory and record the looting of Napata, the seat of Kushite power. This victory was not merely symbolic. By defeating the Kushites, Psamtik II secured Egypt's southern borders, ensuring that the wealth of Nubia, its gold, ivory, and other riches, would flow unimpeded into Egypt. The pharaoh's victory also served as a deterrent to other potential rivals, reinforcing the image of Egypt as an unassailable power. Cultural patronage and religious reforms. Psamtik II's reign, while focused on military achievements, was also a period of significant cultural and religious activity. Understanding the importance of divine favor. Psamtik II continued the tradition of his forebears by restoring and enhancing Egypt's religious centers. Temples dedicated to the gods, particularly those of the sun god Ra and the patron deities of the Saite dynasty, were renovated and expanded. One of the most notable aspects of Psamtik II's religious policy was his attention to the syncretism of Egyptian and foreign deities. This period saw an increased reverence for gods such as Amun, whose worship had spread far beyond Egypt's borders, and a growing acknowledgement of the Sumerian and Mesopotamian pantheons. This blending of religious traditions was not just a sign of Egypt's openness to foreign influence, but a deliberate strategy to unify the diverse populations under Egyptian control. Psamtik II's religious reforms and temple constructions were more than acts of devotion. They were political statements, reinforcing his legitimacy as pharaoh and ensuring that the god's favor remained with Egypt. These efforts would have long-lasting effects, influencing religious practices in Egypt for generations to come. The end of a reign and the dawn of a new era. Psamtik II's reign, though lasting only 6 years, was a critical juncture in the history of Egypt's late period. His military campaigns secured Egypt's borders and its wealth, while his cultural and religious policies reinforced the pharaoh's role as both a warrior and a priest. Psamtik II's actions laid the groundwork for the continued prosperity of the Saite dynasty, even as the geopolitical landscape around Egypt grew increasingly complex with the rise of the Persian Empire. Psamtik III's death in 589 BCE marked the end of an era, but his legacy endured. His son, Apries, would inherit a kingdom fortified by Psamtik II's victories and enriched by his cultural patronage. The strength of Egypt under Psamtik II was a testament to the power of a ruler who understood that greatness was not just in the conquest of lands, but in the preservation and enhancement of his people's cultural and spiritual life. Conclusion: embracing the wisdom of history. The reign of Psamtik II teaches us that true greatness is built on a foundation of strategic foresight, cultural pride, and a deep connection to the divine. His story is a reminder that leadership is not merely about power, but about securing a legacy that endures beyond one's time. By embracing the lessons of the past, we can find the strength to overcome the challenges of our present, ensuring that our own legacies are ones of enduring significance. Just as Psamtik II drew strength from the traditions and wisdom of those who came before him, we too can find guidance in the history that shapes us, forging a future that honors our past and builds upon it for the generations to come. Kindly click like, subscribe, and share this channel.